tracker. We partnered with the folks at Tobii Technology and announced that partnership back at CES. And if you're not familiar with who Tobii is, they're sort of the masters of eye tracking, and specifically market their products to, you'll see a lot in the medical device, medical assistance type communities. They also just launched some really cool like eye tracking glasses. So they're definitely approaching the consumer market, but from different angles. We're working with them from a gaming perspective. And we are introducing the Sentry at E3. It is essentially your virtual coach for gaming improvement. So the way that we're talking about it and rolling it out is if you are looking for game improvement, a competitive advantage to what you're currently doing, this is the type of product that you would look for. Does that mean you have to be a player that's looking to compete at a national level? Definitely not. It could be somebody that just wants to really improve and not be the crappiest guy in his team or with his group of friends, but somebody that takes becoming a better player a little more seriously. So there are a couple things to learn and tell you about eye tracking and how it works. The bar is pretty unassuming, right? The actual hardware of it. Inside you'll have 5 infrared sensors and 1 camera. The infrared sensors basically track the movement of your corneas as you're looking across your screen. The camera records those movements. And basically the output is really the feature and most the beneficial part for you. So what I've got on the screens over here is basically a pre-recorded demo of a Dota 2 session. So what you do, you play Dota 2 30 minutes, an hour, 3 hours, however long you're looking to play, and you basically record your session and play normally. When you go back and review your footage, we actually do a couple things for you. So you'll see the spotlight on the screen. That's essentially where your eyes are looking around the screen. So you can really go back and see exactly where you were looking at that time. Kind of a cool factor. The features that really are making the difference and will help you become better are the statistics on the right-hand side. We provide you with statistics in 3 forms. You'll see the line graph there. We give it to you in a heat map, and we also give you numbers. It's correlating a few things. So one of the big words you'll hear when you start to learn a little bit more about the product is fixations. We define a fixation as any time you're looking at a screen or a part of the screen for longer than 50 milliseconds. That's a fixation. The fixations per minute are the amount of times you're fixating on different areas around your screen. So the more fixations per minute, the more often you're looking around your screen, the better gameplay, the better use of your time, the better use of your eyesight is what you're accomplishing. And it's actually a really good thing. So all of these numbers sound great. They sound super, detailed, but really the benefit is going to be what you do with them. So benchmarking. I always like to relate, especially you like to work out, right? So when you measure your heart rate, it's only interesting if you know what you're measuring it against, right? Your heart rate could be X number, and unless you know you need to be in between these certain numbers, it's not really very effective. The same thing here. So we have equipped a pretty large portion of our pro gamers from Fnatic and Navi to VVV, Invictus Gaming with eye trackers. We started working with them this past month, and it'll continue through the end of the summer and even into the fall. And they're trying to help us identify what are some benchmarking numbers for certain games so that you can go in, compare your numbers to what the pros are playing. So in a Dota 2 session for 30 minutes, if Dendi is fixating 200 times per minute and you're fixating at a total of 33 times per minute, there's some serious room for improvement for you. We'll also give you a heat map, and that's what I can show you right here, of places that you can see on the screen where you're looking more often than not. Let me see if I can increase the brightness here. So if you're noticing that you're having some issues in this section of your game, you actually might see that there's some stuff going on right up here that you didn't even gaze at. You didn't even see in your, maybe you saw it in your peripheral, but you didn't look and actually focus on it. And that could be exactly the point where your game really kind of went to hell. So that's the purpose. The main goal of the Sentry, especially right now, is for us to educate people that there are ways to improve your gameplay, and the Sentry is a tool to help you do that. If you'd like to become, if you'd like to compete at a little bit of a higher level than what you're at now. Like I mentioned before, we're working with the pro players to benchmark, but we're also working with them as a tool for them, right? So we I have like a little video clip for you that I can share with you. I think Travis may have sent it along, but ultimately it's a video that talks with Alex from Navi and Patrick from Fnatic about even how like coaches and managers from pro teams think it could actually impact and help their players in their gameplay.
So what games can you use this on?
So I can give you kind of two answers on that one. So no matter what, when we start shipping this at the end of the year, it will absolutely work with StarCraft 2, League of Legends, Dota 2, World of Warcraft, Civ 5. The goal and what our R&D team is working on now is to actually just say any game. Really, there is not any back-end implementation from the game publisher's side, so it should work with anything, right? So if you're a Counter-Strike player, how awesome is this tool for like an FPS game, right? So essentially, I mean, then that's the goal, that it will work with anything out of the box from a trainer coaching perspective. So that's a piece of it. That's what we're marketing now to what we consider the audience of player that that really takes their competitiveness more seriously. And it could be the guy that plays 80 hours a week of Dota 2. It could also be the guy that plays like 18 hours a week. You know, it really depends on how competitive you are versus how much time you dedicate.
And this is also PC only?
This is PC only at this point, yeah. The other feature of it is something that Toby has been working pretty tirelessly on the back end, which is helping game publishers to implement eye tracking into their games. So what would that do for the consumer? Essentially, it will allow you to use your eyes as another form of controller. So imagine you're running down a corridor. Instead of using your keyboard strokes or your mouse to do that, you actually could use your eyes to do that down the screen. So you're basically adding an additional controller to your setup. If you take that even one step further, imagine you're playing a game like FIFA and you're running down the field, you go to kick a goal, and you look in a different direction than you kick to fake out the goalie. You've just changed the makeup of a game, right? The way that you interact with games now is completely different. So, a combination of SteelSeries and Toby are working with game developers to introduce and help work that functionality into the back end. And it's something that when this is available later this year, there are some pieces of it that will work that way with some games. Right now, we've got a couple of demos that have that possibility with StarCraft 2, for instance. And we'll just continue to implement that on the back end.
And how much is it going to retail for?
We haven't released it yet, so no pricing yet. The best I can do is tell you we want to make it affordable. You know, it's not supposed to be, personal loan investment or the cost of a console, It's really meant to be for somebody that that does take their gameplay seriously, but, not breaking the bank while doing it.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.